welcome. The topic we will be discussing in this lecture is memory management. So, as the resource manager, one of the primary role of the operating system is to manage the memory effectively. Here, memory in the sense we refer to main memory. And main memory is an important part of the computer. And main memory is also called as primary memory because the CPU will refer to main memory to process any data. Okay, so basically main memory is a large array of bytes. Main memory is a large array of bytes. So ranging in size from several hundreds of thousands to billions. Okay, so you can assume that you can consider main memory as an array of bytes where its size may be ranging from hundreds of thousands to billions of bytes. Okay, so each location is 1 byte. The size is 1 byte. Okay, so this is the 0th byte, this is the first byte, okay, this is the second byte, like that it goes on. Like that, how many bytes it may have? It may have millions or even billions of bytes. Okay, so this is how main memory is organized. Okay, and each byte will have its own address. So these are nothing but address. This location is referred using the address 0. This location is referred using the address 1. This location is referred using the address 2. Like that, every location will have its own address. Okay, and each of this location may contain two types of information. It may contain either an instruction or it may contain data. Okay, it may contain either an instruction or it may contain a data. So what is an instruction and what is a data? How do we differentiate between the two? What is the instruction and what is the data? For example, say I have an instruction, I have a code something like this: a equal to 10, comma b equal to 5, and then c equal to a plus b. Okay, so here if you take this particular statement c equal to a plus b, this is actually an instruction. This is actually a instruction. But this instruction is meaningless until you assign some value to a and value to b, where these values are available. So value of a is 10 and value of b is 5. These are data. This 10 and 5 are nothing but data, whereas c equal to a plus b, that is an instruction. Okay, so the locations in the memory may hold either instruction or it may hold data. Okay, and CPU instruction cycle, there is something called instruction cycle for a CPU, which we will be discussing sometimes later, or you may be learning in other related courses. So during the CPU instruction cycle, there are two phases. One is called as instruction fetch. During the instruction fetch cycle, the CPU will fetch the instruction. At that time, it will only fetch the instruction. So in this case, during instruction fetch cycle, the CPU will fetch only this statement: c is equal to a plus b. And during data fetch cycle, there is the instruction cycle. In the instruction cycle, there is another phase called as data fetch. During data fetch, it will fetch this data. Okay, then it will assign a as 10 and b as 5, and then it will calculate a plus b, and that value will be stored in C. So this is how the CPU fetches instructions and data from the memory. That is, during instruction cycle, the CPU cycle contains multiple phases. During the phase of instruction cycle, it will fetch instruction, and during the phase of data cycle, it will fetch the data. Okay, and accordingly, it may either read the data from the memory or it may write the data from the memory. For example, here you see for A and B, it reads data from the memory because A is already assigned with 10 and B is already assigned with 5. So in this case, it reads from memory. So this also will be available somewhere in the memory. A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 10. This also will be available in memory. From that location, it will read. Finally, it calculates something C. C is equal to A plus B, which is 15. So that it will store in the memory. What is C? Finally, it will store into the memory. So all these are done by the CPU, Central Processing System. Okay. So, and to process any data, the data should be moved to the main memory. Only if the data is in the main memory, the CPU can process it. Okay, for any data to be processed, it should be brought to the main memory because CPU can only directly access the main memory. CPU will not directly access the hard disk. Okay, and to improve system utilization, to improve CPU utilization and the computer's response, a general purpose computer must keep more than one process in memory. Okay. So a general purpose computer should have more than one process in memory. So this is the main reason why we are going for memory management. So as we have already discussed, at any given point of time, memory will not have only one process. Memory will have more than one process. As memory contains multiple processes, so if this is your memory will be divided into several parts, and each part of the memory will have a different process. So maybe here you may have process 1. Of course, operating system will be placed somewhere. So here you will be process 1, process 2, okay, process 3. So it means that multiple processes were kept in the memory. So there should be some mechanism to manage the memory. So there should be some mechanism to manage the memory. So there are several memory management schemes available. There are several memory management techniques available depending on the type of the hardware and other features. So we have to identify the correct memory management scheme which is appropriate for our computer. Okay, so it all depends on. So basically, every operating system will come with a list of memory management algorithm, and depending on the situations and the circumstance, it may apply different memory. It may call different memory management algorithm. Okay. And as a memory manager, these are the activities the operating system performs. It keeps track of which parts of memory are currently being used and by whom. Okay, so that is here the memory you can see. So this much memory is occupied by P1, this much is occupied by P2, this much is occupied by P3, and the rest is occupied by operating system. So somebody should keep track of this info. Who keeps track of this info? Operating system keeps track. Maybe if P1 completes its job, then this much memory will be freed, and it will go to whom? It will go to operating system. Then this will be under the control of operating system. And now if a new process comes, then depending on how much memory it requires, accordingly the OS may allocate. Okay. So basically operating system keeps track of which parts of memory are currently being used and by whom, deciding which process and data to be moved in and out of memory. So sometimes we may have to do swapping. Maybe if the if process 2 is not being used for a long period of time, and if another process is waiting for a long period of time, then operating system may decide to swap. In that case, operating system may move P2 to hard disk, and it may bring the next process, which is P4. So this type of decisions also will be taken by operating system. That is, when to move a particular process out of memory and when to bring a new process into memory. Allocating and deallocating memory space as needed, depending on the requirement, whether to allocate how much space to a particular process, and if the process does not need some space, then to deallocate that. So basically, these are the functions the operating system performs as a memory manager. Okay, so that's it about this particular topic. So what we have discussed here in the sense, basically main memory is an important component in a computer, and main memory is an array of bytes ranging in size from hundreds of thousands to billions of bytes, and each byte has its own address. CPU reads instructions from the main memory during instruction fetch cycle, and it reads or writes data to main memory during data fetch cycle. CPU can only access main memory directly. It cannot access hard disk directly. To process data, the data should be brought into main memory. Okay. And then to improve CPU utilization and to increase the computer response time, generally more than one programs or one process will be in the main memory. And as there are more than one process in the main memory, we need some mechanism to manage memory. So there are different mechanisms available for memory management. Depending on the hardware what we are using and depending on the requirement, different memory management schemes can be used. And these are the activities the operating system performs as a memory manager. It keeps track of which part of the memory are currently being used and by whom, and it decides which process should be moved in and out of memory, and also it decides when to allocate and deallocate memory depending on the requirement. Okay, fine. Let us stop here. Yeah, thanks for joining.